The Justin Robert Young program, brought to you as always by everybody who supports us at PayJuryDaily.com, inching ever closer to that big $1,000 number. Now's the time, friends. If you are interested in keeping this show in your life, then you head on over there right now, PayJuryDaily.com. It is where you get our Patreon. It is where you can get your name read at the end of the show. It's where you can support us for $5 a month. $5 a month. Come on, man. That's barely nothing. PayJuryDaily.com. Enough of talking about how we support the show, though. What do you say we just do the damn thing? Oh, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, I heard from Jomo, new Possum Posse album this year. Very excited. Welcome to the Justin Robert Young program. My name is indeed Justin Robert Young. We have a lot to talk about today. We have my foolproof, unquestioned, peer-reviewed, airtight suggestion on how we can make a better public education system if we only gave every high school senior $5,000 and told them to skip school on one condition, that you make a business, and as soon as your business goes belly up, you have to return to school. Nobody has written me a single critical email about this. Absolutely nobody. If somebody did it right now, they would be the first. Everybody believes that my plan, the Justin Robert Young plan, is foolproof. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a brand new study that has just been revealed showing that Florida is still more special than we could have ever imagined, specifically if you want to either pay for sex as an older man or if you would like to receive money for sex as a younger woman. All that in your emails, but let's go ahead and begin with, again, there has been no critical email that has been written in, but there is one. There is not one, but a few misconceptions that came in. Very minor misconceptions. If you haven't been listening this week, my plan, and I will lay it out again, is that I believe that one of the key elements that we can have an opportunity to teach our youth in high school, in public high school, is how to understand the real world a little bit more, how to understand money a little bit better. And I believe that a great way to do this is to effectively cancel junior year of high school. Say you're not coming to school for junior year. Instead, what you're doing is you're going to get a lump sum of money. You're going to have to prepare. Maybe we spend sophomore year preparing you for this. That you have to write out a business plan. And you, indeed, get the opportunity to apply that money into your business plan. Should you do things the right way and you keep your business afloat for the entirety of the year, congratulations. No matter how minor your business is, no matter how much of your day your business takes up, you don't have to go to school. Should your business go belly up, and we are going to be monitoring the bank accounts on all this, every single transaction monitored, then you indeed have to either come to school and just do busy work, right? You're just doing dittos. You're filling out workbook forms. Nonsense, right? Or you can enter the labor pool to be a part of a successful and thriving business. This gives you an opportunity to not only take risks, but also work together, but also work with people that you might not necessarily be friends with. I feel like there's a lot of real world microcosms that we can create in this system. And it just shakes things up. It gets people out of school. Now, there's been a few misconceptions, and here's the biggest one. This is not my plan. A brilliant, unquestioned plan is not a solution for the lack of vocational jobs. So I've gotten a lot of emails that have seemed to have mentioned that this is a replacement for the fact that not college isn't for everybody and that we need to be offering people the opportunity to go to trade school. I believe that this is all important. However, I don't think that this is that lesson. What I want to do is create a living lesson for young Americans to understand how all organizations work, whether it be they nonprofit, governmental, or private. That there is money that comes in, be it from the state or from charitable donations or from profits, that then gets applied for whatever the job is through the people that are hired at that company. This is how the world works. It's not a lesson about you should be a business person. It's not a lesson of you should be a capitalist. It's not a lesson that you should be a tradesman. The lesson is, let's get a very, very real world sense of what organizational structure is. I would suggest that people do this even if we lived in a totally socialistic society wherein everybody went to work for the state. You would use it as a pilot program to think of new ways that the state could serve the populace. What I would like to change is the idea that the world is on a track, that you follow along. When you're a kid, when you get to high school, you're only beginning to realize that the world will not be laid out for you. It's chaotic. And the more we fear that chaos, the worse we are. A high school kid is only years away from making decisions that will shape the rest of their lives. I would rather have them give them an experience where they were asked to work hard in a world of chaos so they knew what success or failure felt like. Now, there are a few more misconceptions that I'm going to deal with in the emails. But again, what I'm most amazed by is that not a single person said anything hypercritical. Man, that must mean that I made a really good plan. That must mean that my plan is awesome. Well, maybe it's because of where I'm from. Maybe it's because I hail from the Sunshine State, which, as it often is the subject for our news. Pioneering, trailblazing, that's what the Sunshine State is, and we are again at the top of the list, dominating in a way that no other states are. This is a story here from clickorlando.com. The headline reads, UCF ranks number 2 in the nation for most students with sugar daddies, says study. It is indeed a study run by seekingarrangements.com. So dig this. This is the top 10 list. If you're unfamiliar what a sugar daddy or a sugar baby is, this is how I understand it. If you're an older man who might be looking for a very specific relationship, you are looking to lavish a young woman with money and gifts, if only they would every once in a while come by and have sex with you. You feel that you have an abundance of something, money. They have a scarcity of something that you'd like, young women. And if you're a young woman, you might say, well, look, I'd like to have a life, but also I'd like to pay my rent, and I'd like nice things. And every once in a while, I like to do one of them Instagrams where I'm on a boat off the coast of Italy. This is a cool thing that my sugar daddy can buy me. So the site seekingarrangement.com is apparently a meeting place where these two specific kinds of people can meet and engage in the relationship that they would like. And here, my friends, is something that you may or may not be surprised by. 1, 2, 3. 3 of the top 10 are from the great state of Florida. Number 1 is Georgia State University, 306 new signups for a total of 1,304 students. But then, number 2, and Georgia State University, I had to look it up. It's in Atlanta. Makes sense. Makes sense that Georgia State University, a university right in the center of Atlanta, is going to have a lot of these. Well, let's do number 2, the University of Central Florida. That is in Orlando. It is the largest state school in Florida. It is known as You Can't Finish for UCF. But apparently, you can and will finish if you are on seekingarrangement.com. Number 3, the University of Alabama. Number 4, I'll tell you what, here's a rivalry that FSU has bested UF at this time. Florida State has the number 4 position, and then University of Florida right behind it at 5. I mean, I would find really the most impressive is Florida. Well, no, Florida State's in Tallahassee. There's a lot of horny dudes in Gainesville. That's what I'm the most. I think that's the smallest city so far. Gainesville has been out hornying their population. No other state has 3. But we will round out the top 10 here. Number 6, Rutgers. Number 5, Cal State Fullerton. Number 3, the University of Nevada. Number 9, North Texas. Number 10, the University of Missouri. Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure that Florida's the only one with 3. California. Oh, no, wait. Sorry. California also has 3. Now, not 3 in the top 10. Not 3 in the top 10. But UCLA and USC also make the top 20. But no other state has 3 in the top 10. Proving Florida, yet again, number 1. Number 1. I'm sure that there's... I always wonder how much more prevalent that stuff is in the modern era because you have the tools, and how much we just know about it more because you have the tools. Is it just easier to have some old dude in your life that just gave you money? If you... all right. I'm going to throw this out here. I'm going to need for people... Let me see. Podcast mail is still working. All right. Do me a favor. If you are or have been in the past a sugar baby or a sugar daddy or mother, then please go to podcastlink.com/Justin R. Young. There, truly anonymously, you can let me know what that was like, or what you liked about it, or what you didn't like about it. That's what I want to know. I want to know if anybody in this audience has engaged in one of those relationships. And where will we talk about it? Well, we will talk about it in a segment I like to call... Email All right, this is all about my foolproof plan. Vince writes, along the same lines as Big Jim yesterday, opening a business should be an option in senior year, not junior year. And don't just give the kids cash. Make it like a real junior achievement runs, that there are mentors who need to co-sign checks. That way, Big Brother is in full effect and there isn't a $100,000 Uber party to clear out the accounts right before the end of the school year. Another similar point is, at least here in Canada, up until about 1980, when you hit grade 10, you could either stay in school or switch to a trade school for free. You would then graduate high school ready for your third year as an apprentice in a trade. Many people knew that they were not quote-unquote book people and were desperate for trade people in modern society. Why not have electricians and plumbers come out of school instead of dropouts and MIC employees? Again, I'm for the vocational thing. I just don't think that that is a replacement for what I'm talking about. I'm talking about something different. mhump23 says, I think that your idea most likely needs to extend much further back into a child's education to be viable. Real-world vocational attributes need to be taught at a much younger age, perhaps into the early grades. This would prepare more kids to handle such a major event as junior year apprenticeship. I just look at kids like they are my nephew and they would be ill-equipped for such a jarring experience without some practical know-how being part of their early education. Think about your plan at an earlier start point and let us know what do you think would get kids ready for the big year. Right now, they are not being primed to succeed. M-Hump, you're missing the point. If they fail, it's fine. The point is the jarring experience. Not everything can be prepared for, and that's the beauty of what we are doing here. Everybody is being thrown into the fire, and that's what matters. Sean writes, I think for your idea to work, there has to be a change in our math education system. I am 8 years into being an engineer and took an elective advance for engineers math courses in college. Nowhere in my education was simple interest versus amortized interest ever discussed. Schools would need a consumer math course ahead of junior year, not just for kids not smart enough for calculus, but for everyone. If you're going to start a business and you need to know what the terms of the loan mean, it would also have the side benefit of giving kids the tools to understand what a $200,000 student loan would look like in the future. Maybe you toss in some tax law stuff and accounting before junior year. I've used calculus a handful of times in my career in designing turbo machinery, and I have made financial decisions a whole lot more. For your plan to work, the setup would need to be changed from standard education. Sean, I'm with you. I think a few better math programs would help. Matt writes, I was just thinking about your $5,000 plan. Does someone just have to report a profit at the end, or just show that they didn't lose the money? What is to prevent someone from just sticking $5,000 in a bank account? I know for many jobs, startup costs are expensive. If I didn't have a computer and I want to be a graphic designer, I have to buy a decent Mac. Almost everyone in graphic design still uses Macs exclusively. As somebody who's good at finding deals, at least the least decent Mac that I purchased cost $2,500 refurbished. Then I'd have to pay for Creative Cloud. That's $60 a month. If someone wanted to become a mechanic, many independent shops make their workers buy their own tools. I don't know the current price of a decent set of tools, but I'm guessing that you would drop $5,000 on those. Just some thoughts. It's an interesting idea as a point of discussion. I just thought there were some flaws. And there we go. That was the most critical email. Nobody else wrote me anything. This was wholly uncontroversial and certainly did not inspire a 1,000-word email criticizing the entire concept on multiple fronts. Oh, wait, I just got an email. Click, 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 click. Let me just copy, and I'm not even going to read it. Just going to paste it right in here. Surely, this has followed the total trend of uncritical praise for my brilliant idea. Ninja Steve writes, Ninja Steve here. I guess it's up to me to be the wet blanket. I listened to your idea on Monday and I was skeptical about how it would work, but I kept an open mind and waited till you talked about the details yesterday. Having heard how you believe this idea should work, apparently I'm the only person out here who thinks that it's a terrible, crazy pants, not gonna work idea? I don't know. This doesn't sound like praise. I have a lot of problems with this idea. Oh. Not the least of which is that it's reductive and has a lot of holes in the way that you propose it be executed. Aside from that, the motivation for a kid to do this is fuzzy at best. It'll put a lot of cost onto an already strained public education system, and it's a tempting stake for fraud and abuse. First of all, if the motivation of a kid to do this program is to not have to go to school, why wouldn't he or she just drop out to get a GED instead of doing some complicated nanny state program? It's already legal for kids in most states to drop out of high school at 16. I graduated from high school, but both my brother and sister dropped out at 16 and got their GEDs. Now, if you're thinking the money would make up for this as a secondary motivation, I'm going to need you to wait a minute until I get to my last point. Last point? Wait a minute. Second, you contradicted yourself when you talked about how this would be funded. You said that the schools would save money by not having junior year students, but isn't this an optional program? If it is, what about the kids who choose not to participate? Schools would have to hold junior year classes for them, and you said that the kids who used up all their money would have to go back to school. These kids would be in classes too. So that means the school would still need to spend money for junior year students, as well as fork over $5,000 to each person who signs up for this business program. If this is a required thing, you're at least paying for a glorified daycare for students who lose their $5,000. It still costs money to watch these kids, but put them in a classroom, feed them lunch, and it still costs cash. The only thing the school wouldn't need to buy is books, which is mitigated cost anyway. If students are already reusing old editions until they're worn out of date, i.e., schools don't have to buy them every year. Also, the $5,000 per student wouldn't merely cost $5,000 per student. If you're going to monitor their accounts and keep tabs on their student businesses, you're going to have to pay for the equipment, services, and personnel to do that. Public schools across the country are already having financial problems paying for teachers and supplies. So much so that teachers' unions all over have been going on strike. I just don't see how these programs in any way are cost efficient. A good luck convincing taxpayers to pay for a program that at its core is intended to let kids fail. Lastly, how much oversight are you talking here? Because you have to take into account that someone, somewhere, is going to find a way to take advantage of quote-unquote free money. If you give a student $5,000, what's to stop them from withdrawing $4,000 and using that as capital to start selling drugs, and then laundering just enough money to make it appear as if they're running a legit business while pocketing the rest? There are some pretty industrious kids out there who would undoubtedly figure out how to profit from this in illegal ways. I know several kids like that myself when I was a teenager, and I'm sure that they were not unique to my high school. Giving teens that much free money, quote unquote, is a surefire way to educate up-and-coming criminals. And if you want to propose more monitoring to prevent this, I'll refer you back to my second point, that you're tacking even more of a cost onto an already expensive program. I think that the lessons that you want to instill are indeed good ones. However, this execution is way too flawed. Maybe a high school or public education setting is the wrong place for this. The idea might be better as a post-high school vocational program or a community college program that benefits students with real-world experience and credit ratings rather than just dangling a skip your classes carrot. I understand it. I think your way is way too pie in the sky, and I can't imagine it working. All right, Ninja Steve. Oh, you think you're smart writing the only 1,000-word takedown of my fully vetted, thought-out process, huh? Is that it? Is that it? Well, tomorrow, on tomorrow's episode, I go through a point-by-point breakdown of why I'm right and why Ninja Steve is wrong. That's the last time I read emails without on the air without vetting him first. Ninja Steve, Killjoy. I want to thank our producers, The Jen, PD Rave, Non-Specific, and Rock and Roll Martian, Joe Acosta, well, James the OG Brito, well, Matthew B, and new producer, Chris. You can go ahead and send in your emails, jurydaily@gmail.com. Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat is Justin R. Young. Podcastlink.com/Justin R. Young. If you are or were a sugar daddy, a sugar mama, or a sugar baby. And of course, you can join our Discord at bit.ly/jury Discord. High Thoughts return tomorrow. My point-by-point rebuttal, destroying Ninja Steve with facts and logic, is tomorrow. But until tomorrow, this is your old pal, Justin Robert Young, asking you very politely to please give a round of applause to Mr. Wacky. But more importantly, please don't die!
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.